Hi, I'm Nora. Today I'm going to tell you my story. But before I continue, please share, and subscribe to hear more stories like this. Mom, you can't be serious. I've worked my entire life for this, I said, staring at the acceptance letter in my hand. Nora, your sister needs you right now. We don't have options, my mother replied, her voice firm as she folded laundry on the couch. But it's MIT. Do you know how many people apply for this position? This is everything I've worked for. I waved the letter in the air. My father entered the living room, his face showing no sympathy. Family comes first, Nora. Always has, always will. So my future doesn't matter? I'm just supposed to put my entire life on hold because Melissa got herself expelled? Again! Don't talk about your sister that way, my mother snapped. She's struggling. She's struggling because you two never set boundaries. And now my PhD is the price? Dad crossed his arms. It's just a year, maybe 2. You can reapply. Just a year? Are you kidding me? This specific research grant won't exist next year. My advisor pulled strings to get me this spot. Then find another advisor, Mom said dismissively. Another university. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I've been working with Professor Chen for 3 years. This is the culmination of all that work. Your sister needs structure right now, and we both work full-time. You have your teaching degree. That I never wanted to use. I got it as a backup. Well, now you're using it, Dad said with finality. We're family. We sacrifice for each other. Funny how I'm always the one sacrificing, I muttered. Mom stood up. What was that? Nothing. I turned away, tears burning my eyes. Absolutely nothing. That conversation happened 8 months ago. 8 months since I called Professor Chen to decline my spot in MIT's quantum computing PhD program. 8 months of watching my classmates move forward while I moved backward. Melissa, get down here right now, I called up the stairs. It was nearly 10 a.m., and my sister hadn't shown up for our morning session. I'm sick, came the muffled response. You're not sick. You just don't want to do calculus. Same thing. I marched up the stairs and knocked on her door. Open up. The door swung open. Melissa stood there in pajamas, scrolling through her phone. I don't feel like doing math today. And I didn't feel like giving up my PhD to homeschool you, yet here we are. She rolled her eyes. Not this again. Yes, this again. Get dressed. Downstairs in 15 minutes. Or what? You'll tell Mom and Dad? They don't care as long as I stay out of trouble. I leaned against the doorframe. No, I'll call Aunt Julia and tell her you can't make her party this weekend because you're behind on schoolwork. Melissa's eyes widened. You wouldn't try me. 15 minutes. As I headed back downstairs, my phone rang. It was Alex, my best friend from grad school. How's domestic prison? He asked when I answered. Don't even start. How's the lab? How's Professor Chen? Missing you. He keeps saying his new assistant is technically proficient but lacks intuitive understanding. I closed my eyes. That used to be my compliment. It still is. He asks about you all the time. Please stop. It's like hearing about an ex. An ex you were forced to break up with. How are the prison wardens? My parents? Same as always. Dad's at work until 8 p.m. every night, and Mom pretends everything is fine when she comes home from her real estate showings. Meanwhile, I'm trying to force trigonometry into Melissa's brain. Any progress on the escape plan? I lowered my voice. Actually, yes. I have an interview next week. No way. Where? Carson Miller Research Group. It's private sector, but they're doing some interesting quantum work. That's only 20 minutes from MIT. Exactly. And they pay enough that I could afford an apartment. No more living at home. What about Melissa? That's the best part. I found this online accredited homeschool program. It has actual teachers who do video classes. I've been documenting everything about her education for the past 8 months. Your parents will never go for it. They won't have a choice. Not when they find out what I know. Which is, Melissa wasn't expelled for fighting. She was expelled for bringing vodka to school and getting 3 other kids drunk at lunch. Alex gasped. How do you know that? Melissa told me during one of her tantrums. Apparently, she and Mom cooked up the fighting story because Dad would have killed her if he knew about the alcohol. Mom even paid off the other parents to keep it quiet. So your mom lied to your dad too? That's wild. And I've been keeping track of all the times Mom's been showing houses when she's actually meeting her friend Gary for long lunches. Wait, is she? I don't know for sure, but Dad's been sleeping in the guest room for months. The point is, neither of them is in a position to tell me I have to keep sacrificing my life for their messed up family dynamics. Nora, this is getting intense. They made me give up everything, Alex. Everything. Speak of the devil, I whispered as I heard the garage door. Mom's home early. Gotta go. I hung up just as Mom walked through the door carrying shopping bags. Where's Melissa? She asked, setting her bags on the counter. Upstairs, supposedly getting ready for calculus. Mom sighed. Don't push her too hard today. She seemed upset this morning. She's always upset when there's math involved. I got her some new clothes. Maybe that'll cheer her up. She pulled out an expensive-looking sweater. More bribes? Mom frowned. It's not a bribe, it's being supportive. Supporting what? Her tantrum from yesterday when she refused to write her history paper? You don't understand what she's going through. And what am I going through, Mom? Does anyone care about that? Before she could answer, Dad walked in, shocking us both. John, you're home early, Mom said, quickly putting the shopping bags aside. Staff meeting got canceled. He looked between us. What's going on? Nothing, Mom said quickly. Just talking about Melissa's schedule. Actually, I said, we're talking about how I'm done being Melissa's teacher. Dad's expression hardened. What do you mean, done? I mean, I have an interview next week with a research group in Boston, and I'm taking it. We had an agreement. No, you had a demand. I never agreed to anything. Mom stepped forward. Nora, this isn't the time. It's exactly the time. I've spent 8 months putting my life on hold. I've documented every lesson, every assignment. I've created a full curriculum that any tutor could follow. We can't afford a tutor, Dad said. You can't afford a tutor, but Mom can afford $300 sweaters for Melissa? Mom paled. That's different. How? How is it different? Dad looked at the shopping bags. $300 for a sweater? It was on sale, Mom mumbled. The point is, I continued, I found an accredited online program with actual teachers. It costs less than what you spend on Melissa's rewards every month. We're not discussing this, Dad said firmly. You made a commitment to this family. Did Mom make a commitment too, when she lied about why Melissa got expelled? The room went silent. Dad turned to Mom. What is she talking about? Mom's face drained of color. I don't know. Melissa got in a fight. Melissa brought vodka to school and got 3 kids drunk during lunch period, I said. Mom paid the other parents to keep it quiet and made up the fighting story because she knew you'd be furious about the alcohol. Dad stared at Mom in disbelief. Is this true? Mom stammered. I was protecting our family. By lying to me? Dad's voice rose. By making Nora give up her future? Don't act like you're innocent here, I said to Dad. You went along with forcing me to stay without asking any questions. You both decided my life was less important. That's not fair, Mom protested. Not fair? I called Professor Chen in tears to decline a position that hundreds of people would kill for. I watched my classmates move on while I taught geometry to a teenager who couldn't care less. We're your family, Mom insisted. Family doesn't do this to each other. Family doesn't demand one child sacrifice everything for another. Dad ran his hand through his hair. Why are you bringing this up now? Because I'm done. I'm going to that interview. I'm moving to Boston. And you two need to figure out what to do with Melissa without destroying my life in the process. You can't just leave, Mom said. Watch me. Dad turned to Mom. Why didn't you tell me the truth about Melissa? Mom's eyes darted around. You were so stressed with work, and you've always been harder on her than on Nora? Because Nora never needed discipline. She was always responsible. So responsible that you felt fine exploiting her, I cut in. The 3 of us stood in the kitchen, years of resentment finally bubbling to the surface. What's going on? Melissa appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Nothing, Mom said quickly. Just talking. About me, Melissa said, not a question. Actually, about all of us, I replied. About how I'm going to my interview in Boston next week, and how Mom and Dad are going to need to find you a new teacher. Melissa's eyes widened. You're leaving? I should have left 8 months ago. But what about my classes? There's this amazing invention called the internet. You can take classes online with real teachers who actually want to teach. Mom stepped between us. Nora, stop it. No, Mom, I'm done stopping. I'm done putting my life on hold. My phone rang. It was Alex again. I need to take this, I said, walking toward the front door. We're not finished here, Dad called after me. I stepped outside and answered. Hey, how'd it go? Alex asked. Nuclear, but necessary. Professor Chen just called me. He wanted me to tell you something. My heart skipped. What? The person who took your spot dropped out. The position is open again and he wants you. I nearly dropped my phone. Are you serious? Dead serious. He needs to know by Friday. But the semester started months ago. He said he'd work with you to catch up. Nora, this is your second chance. I leaned against the porch railing, my mind racing. I can't believe this. Believe it. What are you gonna do? I looked back at the house where my parents were probably still arguing. I'm taking it. Both interviews, Carson Miller and MIT. Whichever works out, I'm gone. What about your parents? What about them? They made their choice 8 months ago. Now I'm making mine. 2 weeks later, I stood in my bedroom, packing the last of my clothes. The MIT offer had come through, complete with a stipend and housing allowance. Professor Chen had been ecstatic. A knock came at my door. It was Dad. Do you need help carrying anything to your car? He asked stiffly. I've got it, thanks. He nodded, hovering in the doorway. Your mother is still upset. I'm aware. She thinks you're abandoning the family. I zipped my suitcase. That's rich, coming from her. What's that supposed to mean? I stopped and looked at him directly. Ask her about Gary from her office. Ask her why she comes home smelling like cologne on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Dad's face went pale. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe there's a reason you've been sleeping in the guest room for months. And maybe there's a reason she was so desperate to keep me here as a buffer. He leaned against the doorframe. How long have you known? Long enough. But it wasn't my marriage to save. Dad nodded slowly. I suspected, but I didn't want to know. Well, now you do. And now I'm leaving. And Melissa? The online school is all set up. The tutor comes 3 days a week. I've done everything I can. I carried my suitcase downstairs, where Mom was pointedly ignoring me from the kitchen. I'm heading out, I called to her. Silence. Mom, I'm leaving. She turned, her eyes red. So this is it? You're just walking away from your family? I'm walking toward my future. There's a difference. We needed you. And I needed parents who valued my dreams as much as Melissa's mistakes. Melissa appeared from the living room. You're really going? Yes, but I set everything up for you. The tutor is really nice. It won't be the same. No, it won't. It'll be better because the tutor actually wants to teach. And you might actually listen to her. Melissa looked down. I'm sorry I ruined everything. I sighed. You didn't ruin everything. Mom and Dad did that when they decided my future was less important than covering up their problems. Nora, Mom snapped. It's the truth. And we're all better off with the truth, aren't we? I hugged Melissa briefly. Do better, okay? And call me if you need help with calculus. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I walked to the door without looking back at my parents. Goodbye. You'll regret this, Mom called after me. Family is everything. I paused at the door. No, self-respect is everything. And I finally have mine back. 6 months later, I sat in Professor Chen's lab, working on a quantum algorithm that could revolutionize encryption. My phone buzzed with a text from Alex. Dinner tonight to celebrate your publication? I smiled and texted back, absolutely. My phone rang. It was Melissa. Hey, what's up? I answered. Mom and Dad are getting divorced, she said without preamble. I set down my pen. Are you okay? Yeah, it's been coming for a while. Dad found out about Gary. I'm sorry. Don't be. Things are actually better now. Dad's more present when he's here, and Mom's, well, she's dating Gary openly now. And school? The tutor is amazing. I'm getting straight B's, which is basically like straight A's for me. I laughed. That's great, Mel. And I got accepted to 3 colleges. Early decision. What? That's amazing. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I wanted it to be official first. Dad's taking me to tour them next month. He wanted to know if you'd come with us. I hesitated. I don't know. Please, I miss you. And Dad does too, even though he won't say it. What about Mom? Melissa sighed. She's still Mom, stubborn and never wrong. But she did say your name the other day without getting that look on her face. Progress, I guess. So will you come? I thought about it. Send me the dates. If I can get away from the lab, I'll try. Really? That would be awesome. Oh, and guess what? One of the schools has a quantum computing research center. Are you serious? Yeah. Thought maybe we could be in the same city again. You know, if I get in. Something warm spread through my chest. Not forgiveness exactly, but possibility. I'd like that, I said softly. I'd like that a lot. When I hung up, I stared out the window of my lab, watching students cross the campus. I'd lost 8 months of my life, but I'd gained something too. The knowledge that I was strong enough to stand up for myself, even against the people who were supposed to love me most. My phone buzzed again. A text from Professor Chen. Conference committee accepted our panel. You'll be presenting in Vienna next month. I smiled and texted back. Booking my flight now. Sometimes the best revenge isn't making others suffer. It's refusing to suffer yourself. So let me ask you, have you ever had to choose between your dreams and someone else's expectations? What did you choose, and was it worth it in the end?